Hello everyone. So this is the draw along for the integumentary system. I planned on having this up for you yesterday, and pardon me, I was running just a little bit behind, but we are going to take a look. We're going to take a look at the integumentary system today. A couple things to talk about as we get going. That the integumentary system is the largest organ in the body, and people are often surprised at the integumentary system that your skin is an organ, but it's referred to as an organ. One of its main jobs is to provide protection of the other organ structures, of muscles, skeletal system, etc. It is a barrier to keep toxins out. Basically, you're waterproof. And it also allows secretion of toxins. So allows secretions of toxins and to get out of the body. Let's see. We're going to start with, we're going to do a little cross section of the skin. So we're just going to start out with a little cube of sorts. And we'll add to this as we go along. And we're first going to divide this into 3 different layers. So the top layer is going to be not so thick, and it's going to have all these little ridges on it. And then the middle layer is going to be a very thick layer. And then the bottom layer is going to be a thinner layer, but not as thin as the top. The top is known as the epidermis. The middle is the dermis. And you probably guessed the bottom layer is the hypodermis. Right, there are lots of structures in here that are going to make up the skin, and the first we're going to talk about is this kind of jagged edge here. All these little points, all these little dudes sticking down here are known as dermal papillae. D-E-R-M-A-L. I'll do my best here. P-I-P-I-L-A-E. Pretty sure that's how you spell it. Dermal papillae. And what this does is this allows extra surface area for the epidermis to adhere to the dermis. So if you think about that, if we had a straight line, it's only so long. If you took this curved line and straightened it out, it's much longer. So you have more surface area right there. A few things that we have in the skin is that we have hair follicles. So if we get a hair follicle drawn in here. That didn't turn out too bad. That'll be our hair follicle. The hair follicle, the dermal papillae is going to kind of come down around the hair follicle. So it exits out through there. Clean that up a little bit. And each hair follicle, and this is kind of amazing, each hair follicle in your body has this little muscle. It does. It has a little muscle that connects up to one of these dermal papillae, and it connects down here to the hair follicle. And this little muscle right here, we're going to put a little X on it. This muscle is called the erector pili muscle. Is that right? Yeah, erector pili muscle. It's A-R-R-E-C-T-O-R P-I-L-I and muscle, erector pili muscle. And if we break that down, we have pili, which is pilo, basic, and it's hair, and we have recto, which is straight, and you have the word I'm looking for is actually piloerection. It's a funny word. Pilo, recto, and ion is a word that means process of. So this piloerection is the process of straightening the hair, so the hair stands up on end. You probably, when you've gotten cold, you see little goosebumps where your skin pulls down in and your hair stands up. That's because these little muscles are tightening up and the hair follicle is standing up on end. So that's just kind of a interesting little thing. Let's see, I'm going to take that. Move that somewhere else so we can keep it. I'm going to stick her down there in the corner in case we want it later. Alright, so the erector pili muscle. I think I've totally gone off track on that one. The other thing that we have here in the skin surface is we're going to have these other little exits where we have glands that can exit out through the skin. And this one is going to be a sweat gland. So you sweat, the moisture gets on the surface of your skin, the wind blows, it cools you off. And the other sorry, little pause there. The other is going to be here, and there's one connected to each hair follicle also. So you have another little gland over here. This is called the sebaceous gland. Which is basically oil. And so if you have oily skin, it's coming out of this sebaceous gland. Let's see, what other? We have sweat glands, we have sebaceous glands. As a side note, the pause this. All right, I paused that for a second, and I don't exactly remember where I stopped. We were talking about the sebaceous glands, which is oil, and we were talking about the sweat glands. Okay, the other thing that we're going to have in here, we're going to have blood vessels that are going to come just kind of at the top of the dermis. Have those going behind, and we're also going to have them down here in the hypodermis layer. And these up here are going to kind of trail up to touch the dermal papillae. And these down here in the hypodermis are going to travel up through the dermis to provide blood supply throughout the skin. And you're also going to have, trailing with that, artery. Let's get blue that we can actually see. So you're going to have an artery that travels along with each of those. Might branch slightly different. Get out of there. Did you get the idea? So you're going to have the blood vessels, and you are also going to have nerves, and the nerves are going to originate down here in the hypodermis. And they are going to make their way all the way up here to the epidermis. And actually, each nerve is connected to the hair follicle, and the hair follicle has its own blood supply as well. That's why it hurts when you pluck a hair out. And why you're so sensitive. So just if something, just the lightest breeze comes across your skin, it's going to trigger these nerves, and you're going to feel it, and you're just super sensitive to that. And let's see, and I think I mentioned it, but just in case I didn't, that the hypodermis is a fatty tissue layer, adipose tissue, and loose connective tissue. And then underneath that, we're going to have another connective tissue layer. We're going to have that fascial layer that goes over the muscle. And then underneath that, we're going to have the muscle underneath that. Let's see, the one thing I did want to follow up on a little bit more is, let's take this section right here. Shrink it down, get that out of the way a little bit. I don't know, maybe we'll draw something else in there. But the shaft of the hair, I wanted to follow up on that just a little bit more. Come on, get out of the way. Let's go with brown. The root of the hair that we have right down here, this area of the hair, this is called the bulb. And this area around it is actually going to come up, and it's going to kind of fuse up into the bulb of hair, the bulb on the hair follicle, sorry. So here's the erector pili muscle coming off. and the blood vessels and we'll redraw it over here, and the nerve are all going to come up into the bulb. Get that one out of there. Why not? So there you have that kind of conglomeration there. Oh, let's see. I want to be back up on here. I'm getting kind of mixed up now. Anyhow, this area, I'm picking another color. We'll just go over it real quick. This area, kind of down here, this is known as the root of the hair, and then the remaining area from here up, this is the shaft. So the root is the bottom part, the shaft is the top part. I guess we could do that nicer. Here's the root of the hair, and here's the shaft. Hey, look at that. It's as if I know how to draw. What a day, what a day. Okay. Okay, one more thing that I wanted to talk to you about. I can't move that now. You know what? Let's take all this, let's merge it together. Move that over there. I think that's what I want to do. I also need a little more space. That's what I was actually getting at this whole time. All right, a little more space. There we go. We're gonna. The other thing we talk about when we talk about the structures of the, when we talk about the integumentary system, are your fingernails, and we're gonna do just a cross section. Let's do a different color. We'll do a cross section drawing of your finger. Here's your fingernail. And let's see, we're going to have the distal phalanges in here. Here's the bone at the tip of your finger. A spongy bone on the inside. Alright, playing around now. So here's the bone on the finger. Here's the middle phalange, proximal distal middle, right? And okay, so there's our kind of side view of the finger, for better or worse. All of you who are cartoonists, your jobs are safe from me. That's all we can say about that, right? Okay. Let's see. So we have a few things in here we want to look at. First off, we have the actual fingernail. It's called the nail plate. Then this area under here where it connects to the skin, if you've ever torn a fingernail, you know how painful that can be. Who hasn't, right? This is the nail bed. So you pull the plate off of the bed and it hurts a lot. You have this area that grows over it, called the cuticle. And then you have this connective tissue in here called the nail matrix that's coming down here and connecting it to the bone. Therefore, having your fingernails pulled out, sorry, gross image, would be exceedingly painful because again you're going to have all the nerve endings and blood vessels all through here as well. So this is the matrix. The matrix. Now you know. And it has the blood vessels and nerves. Are all going to be in here. You get the idea. The blood vessels and nerves. And I think, let me take a look. I think that was all I wanted to show you. The integumentary system it's not a super complicated system. A cross-sectional drawing of the skin, however, is very complicated. But as far as the anatomy to learn and know, it's not much, but it's challenging to draw. So you know, just something to keep in mind. Last year we did the we're not doing it this year. We did the a suture manual. The class redid a suture manual, and everybody had to do cross sections of skin, and it did prove tricky for them. So that's all I have for that, and email me if you need anything.